Hello and welcome to the SuperShow podcast. I'm Chris, and well, not physically, but on the screen, we've got Alex Jones.
Hello.
And good old Jim Jams Jamie MC.
Howdy.
All individually quarantined.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last time you guys did the webcam thing, and you had said it wasn't quarantine. It was just a matter of convenience, seeing as I wasn't around. But now,
Yeah,
hey,
not so much of a joke anymore. Like, it's remarkably plausible that we could all be self-isolating.
Was it non-essential
crazy.
travel? And I was like, is it essential to travel to London to do a podcast? I think it is, but I don't think Mr. Boris would agree. So,
Yeah.
Necessary? Was it necessary for me to drink my own urine? No, but it's sterile and I like the taste. All right, listen. We are a gaming podcast. If you do not know, if you're watching on YouTube, we have this podcast available on the podcast platform of your choice. If you're listening on those platforms, we're on YouTube. So, everybody wins.
You can see us.
Yeah, you can see our beautiful mugs.
Like this. Give him a smile, Jamie.
You can see what portions of our living rooms and bedrooms look like.
Oh my God. We need better setups, fellas. This is getting ridiculous. Can we maybe all spring for a green screen so we can put ourselves in castles?
We
and
talked
tropical
about it,
islands
didn't
and
we?
shit?
We did.
Like, if we were all on a green screen, that you can kind of merge us all together on some fantastic
I would have been up for
background.
that. Hey, that would have been wicked.
Hey, we can still do that.
I said to Jamie the one day, like, if I'm the host and if I'm in the middle, I'm staring straight at the camera, that you guys should tilt your cameras left and right so that we could be like.
I don't know.
That's right,
I
Chris.
don't know
agree.
which side of.
That's exactly what
Oh,
we
wait,
should do.
should I be this side then?
Yeah, maybe try that. I don't know. We haven't figured it out yet.
I'm looking at
Anyway,
Chris, it's
I
fine.
might fix it in post, but then again, I might not.
Jamie, can you rotoscope us out? Like if we do this?
Fuck no! I might be self-isolating, but I've got to do other stuff. I can't rotoscope us out all day.
Wow. Well, okay. We've been live for a bit and haven't spoken anything about games. But let's get some housekeeping out of the way first, right? This podcast is only made possible thanks to the generosity of our patrons. Long may they be healthy and not have coronavirus, so that they can support us. So
Well, and
That's
so
the
they
only
can
reason.
live,
Nah.
just in general.
Nah.
But now
but-
more than ever, we're giving them something to do when they're stuck in their houses or their rooms or wherever they are. They can.
I was thinking about this.
Check out
we
the
better
podcast.
have like the best fucking weeks we've ever had coming up, because otherwise it's just not worth it, is it?
Yeah.
More content coming your way soon.
Oh, there is more content coming
That's
soon, so
actually
stay
true,
tuned. But anyway, let's give some shout outs to the patrons that do make this episode in particular possible, which is Angus McChilly, Brett Zerbrig, Peaswad, Mindful Pig, what's up, buddy, William Sherry, and of course the main sponsors of everything that you see here is Skylar Music and good old Lonnie Thompson. So thank you all very much. And if you'd like to get involved and support us on our Patreon so we can make more and more and more varied content, not just the podcasts, then support us on patreon.com/supershow. You can also get in touch on social media. What do we got? Twitter and Instagram, which is at SuperShowPod. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, it is youtube.com/SuperShowPod. It's funny how that works.
If you forget any of that during the course of the pod, it's written. All here, look.
Oh,
Super Show
lovely.
Pod.
I hope that they
me,
can
like
see
it.
it this week.
Chris, Jamie.
Well, also,
yeah,
I was
because
just
the
realised-
screens are going to be a lot smaller.
Yeah,
right?
because it's going to have to fit 3 of us in, so they might not be able to see
so
it
they
at
won't
all.
be able to see it. I
We might have
apologise.
We might have to put a graphic on screen.
Go
Anyway.
full screen and you'll be able to see it.
If you can't see it, Jonesy's basically drawn a giant dick on a whiteboard and he's put it behind it for some reason.
Yep.
That's all it is. You're not missing much.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, guys, I've been in South Africa, so I've missed out on all of what you've been doing. I haven't been. It's not like I got off the plane yesterday, but I want to know what you guys have been playing. There is one thing that we've all been playing, and maybe we'll get to that in a bit. But other than that, what have you guys been? What have you been jamming?
Jonesy?
Well, I actually know what. Apart from that, I haven't been playing anything.
Really?
No, I was
Jonesy.
going to finish off Shadow of the Colossus and BioShock, but then
That's what you said last week.
I know, but then I started. Then do you know what? I got screwed over because Call of Duty Warzone got released, and now I can't stop playing it. So that's taken up all my gaming time for the past week
Fair
because
enough.
it is
Can we-
bloody good.
Can we set you some homework? Can we say that you have to finish either BioShock or Shadow of the Colossus by the time we record again?
Yes, and then if I
because
fail again
it-
because I play another 10 hours of COD, it'll be my own fault.
Oh, we know you got to have a forfeit, I reckon.
What's your forfeit for not if you don't finish Last of Us?
Question. Well, no, here's a better
I
question.
finished Last of Us.
Oh, did you finish it in the end? Okay,
What's going to be Chris's forfeit for not playing any Hollow Knight for his entire South Africa trip?
Oh, because you were going to finish. That's the whole point. You didn't finish it is because you were going to take it with you.
Guys, I had a nightmare.
I'm sorry, Chris. I had to jump on it quickly because I couldn't hear you giving Jonesy a hard time when I knew what you've not been up to.
Oh, Christoph.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay, well, I'll just jump in then. A little bit about my trip and my gaming therein. So went to South Africa. I was really worried, actually, that I had a bit of a cold, a bit of a sniffle. And I was worried that when I got to South African airport, OR Tambo, that they're going to take my temperature and they're going to see it's maybe a little bit high and throw me into quarantine. I was only meant to be there for 10 days. And then I was picturing these scenarios where it's like, okay, so they'll put me in quarantine until it's time for me to leave again. I wouldn't see my family at all. And then I come back here to Heathrow in London. And then they'd be like, oh, you were in quarantine in South Africa? All right, back to quarantine you go on this side for another 2 fucking weeks. And then I wouldn't have seen my family on this side for like a month.
So basically a dream holiday.
Yeah.
An ice pack on your head, so just before they took your temperature, so they take it and go, oh, actually, you're really cold. You're fine.
Dude,
like, yeah.
Jonesy, I was getting so paranoid. I was like, before, like just as they announced the plane's going to land, I took off like my jumper and everything. I was just in a t-shirt because I was like, let me just like lower my core temperature. Because what happens if I'm just a bit hot? I don't know.
Just a bit warm.
It's like the opposite of when you didn't want to go to school, so you would rest your forehead against the radiator for half an hour before your mum came into your room in the morning. Oh, I don't feel so well, Mum. Let me check your temperature. And it's like you register 39 degrees, and she's like, huh, I think you might have HIV.
It explains a lot about Jamie now that he constantly had his head on the radiator, cooking his brain. It explains a lot of the person he has become.
Wow, yeah.
Right.
I was frying my brain cells.
So anyway, listen, the idea was to finish Hollow Knight while I was there, right? Which is what I told you guys in the podcast, and it was fully my intention. I got on the plane, I watched a few movies. I watched Jojo Rabbit, very good film, and I watched Ad Astra, very good film, but boring as hell, and I fell asleep during it.
Okay.
And then because I fell asleep, it was a restless sleep. But I wasn't like I'm not going to play a game, right?
Fair enough. Sometimes you just don't feel it.
Yeah. And then stupidly, I thought to myself, well, you know what? I'm not going to South Africa with the wife and kid. All my friends are going to be working during the day, so I'll have a lot of downtime, right?
Sure.
And that's where my thinking was, that I would finish Hollow Knight in that downtime and then see my friends in the evening. But that was not the case. A lot of my friends were like, oh, I've taken the day off, or oh, I'll meet you for supper, for lunch. And a lot of it was also like, I took my dogs to the vet. Unfortunately, my one dog died while I was there, so that was a bit sad.
Yeah, man, that sucks. Sorry about that.
At least
R.I.P.
It's all right. At least I got to see him. He was 12 and a half years old, so I mean, it's fair enough. Anyway,
don't say that. My dog's 12 and a half. She can hear you. She's in the other room.
Happen. You guys want to know how my dog died? Kuba?
Yeah, go on.
Woke up in the morning, ate a biscuit, went outside, took 3 little shits, went back to his basket and died. I mean,
so what?
Yeah,
there's
if you're
worse
gonna go,
ways to go.
Yeah, if you can map out your last day on the planet, mine would involve taking 3 shits as well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Eating a little biscuit.
I like to imagine he did the Triforce of shits and then died. Anyway, so rest in peace, Kuba. You know, I miss you, but there you go. I did do some gaming when I was in South Africa, though. I did play a lot of Dota because obviously my Dota friend, Paul, lives in South Africa. So shout out to Paul. We spent a lot of time doing the gaming.
Nice. Because you said you'd had a bit of a break. You were talking about in the podcast a couple of weeks ago that you hadn't played Dota for a long time. So I imagine that was quite good to get back to.
It was good. And I don't know, we just entered into a really good state of flow and got a lot of wins, racked up a lot of wins.
Decent.
So that was it's always a good time.
That's the opposite of how it went last time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was on like a fucking 11 game losing streak, and I think I've brought it back around in the meantime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then other than that, it's the game that we've all played. So we'll leave that for Jamie's section, I guess. Jamie, what have you been playing? What have you been seeing? What have you been doing?
I will say you did dodge a bullet somewhat, Chris, not being here last week, because you got to avoid Jonesy talking about Star Trek Online for about 20 minutes.
I haven't played any of that in a week. I haven't played any of it.
I had to listen to it, all right, because I listened to the podcast, believe it or not, and I was like, Oh, I was close, Jonesy. I was close to switching off. I was like, what the?
He said,
The
"You know what?
Borg?
I'd rather listen to the sounds that this plane engine is making than hearing any more about Star Trek."
You know what killed it for me? When Jonesy said in Star Citizen if they had Star Trek ships, and then he goes, and if they had the the ship from Deep Space Nine, and then
The
you actually
Defiant.
knew the name. Yeah, you
Defiant.
knew the name of the fucking ship. I was like,
What?
fucking
What do you mean?
nerd.
Of course, everyone knows the name of the Defiant, right? Come on.
Sure. Yeah,
I don't
everybody.
even know what Deep Space Nine is.
It's a
be
space
honest.
station by the wormhole.
You're a space station next to a wormhole.
All right. Well, yeah. Okay. Star
Commander
Trek Online.
Cisco? No. Okay, yeah, no.
Yeah, Cisco Microsystems or networks or
Hey,
whatever. Yeah, sure.
Chris, guess what
Yo.
game I didn't play any of this past week? I'll tell you, it was Star Trek
Online.
Yeah. No, my week was kind of finishing the things I talked about last week. So people
Yeah.
might remember I went back and played Ori and the Blind Forest, which was meant to be kind of the precursor to my playthrough of Will of the Wisps, which I haven't started yet, but I did finish
Okay.
Blind Forest, and I can say that game holds up remarkably well, considering it's
Yeah, I'm
older than I
gonna-
thought it was.
I'm gonna jump into it after Hollow Knight for sure.
Yeah, it's solid. I really liked it. Division 2 Warlords of New York finished that expansion.
How long did it take you to finish the expansion?
God, longer than it probably should have. I don't know. Maybe there was like 6 to 8 hours of gameplay there, but I was doing a fair bit of wandering around, and I did some side missions along the way. I don't
Yeah,
know.
but I mean, 6 to 8 is not
Oh,
an
yeah.
unsubstantial amount.
Nah, it's fine. I just don't know if I want to play that much more of that game for some reason.
Right.
Nothing against the Division. I like the Division 2. I like it a lot, but I'm kind of feel like I'm coming to the end of my journey with it for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
We'll
fair
see.
enough.
What else? I guess the only other thing before we get on to the thing that we've all been playing was that I quickly this morning jumped onto the Xbox One and utilized the New Zealand store page to play the Resident Evil 3 demo, because as of
I
the
thought you
time
weren't
of
going to do
recording,
the New Zealand thing.
I wasn't, but then because on Sony you have to create an account that's based in that country, but on Xbox all you have to do is go to the website for the store from that country and add it to your account, and then you own it, and then you can turn your Xbox on and download it. When I found out it was super simple on the Xbox, I just went and did it. So I played that this morning. It'll be out by the time you guys are listening to this. But
Cool.
Jamie, a bit of an aside though.
yeah.
I think for us recording this today,
Mm-hmm.
I think Doom Eternal is I think Jessica Showbot was saying it was going to be available at 9:01 like Central Eastern time or something.
Like early.
Yeah.
I'll have to
Or
look
maybe
at
it
the,
was,
I'll have
or
to
maybe it
look
was
at the
for like
PlayStation Store, I don't know.
a preload or something.
Well, I
yeah,
know
maybe-
we'll talk about it more later, but I know one thing that's happening is that GameStop, the US chain of stores, are selling Doom Eternal a day early because they don't want Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal to come out on the same day for
fair
crowding reasons.
Yeah,
Right.
but then again, like
As an
no one
example.
should really be leaving their house. We all got to be shut-ins.
Everyone's
so-
going to be buying Doom Eternal digitally, you'd imagine, but
Oh, the
hopefully.
download's going to be horrendous.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But yeah, Resi 3. It's a pretty solid demo, but it's not particularly long. I finished it in 20.
Was it? Sorry, was it like the Resident Evil 2 demo where it was the one shot?
No, you could do it over and over again. But it's
Oh, okay.
there's just not that much to it. Like I said, I finished it in 20-25 minutes, but probably if you took
Oh,
a more
wow.
direct path through, it would be 10 to 15. I don't know.
What did you think compared to Resi 2? How did it shape up?
It's similar in all the ways that you want it to be similar, which is why I don't mean that as a negative thing at all. Like, it still felt very good. The gunplay felt very similar. A lot of things that worked so well in Resident Evil 2, like the feeling of firing the weapons, the way the zombies react to getting hit and dismember and the gore and all of that
Yeah.
stuff.
Mm.
Everything felt right. It looks really fucking good.
Okay,
Like-
cool.
That Resi engine, man.
Dude,
Fucking
that thing's
hell.
doing work. There's a cutscene at the beginning where you're introduced to some of the characters, and even just their faces, seeing them up close, I was like, this shit looks really fucking hot. The lighting as well was all very good. I suppose the things that are different to Resident Evil 2 is that it's set in slightly larger areas, so you kind of go
Yeah.
out street side and you're kind of walking in and out of various shops. There are obviously, things that block your way. There are cars strewn across the road, for example, but it feels more open than
Okay.
the RCP did in Resident Evil 2. There's a dodge mechanic now, so if you hit, it was
Ooh.
RB on the Xbox One, so I guess R1 on the PlayStation, you can dodge out of the way, and if you time it perfectly, you get like a little sound effect and a little flash, and I believe it's meant to slow down time or something, but I didn't really notice it.
I think I remember reading something about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I guess the other big change, which is in the demo, admittedly only for the last 30 seconds to a minute, is that Nemesis is, of course, in Resident Evil 3, as you'd imagine.
That's the thing that I'm concerned about, son. It's like Mr. X was bad enough, right?
Chris, let me tell you, Nemesis is not fucking about. The first time you see him, he sprints at you. Like, this motherfucker can run, and he's throwing haymakers left, right, and center. I died to Nemesis in the demo because I was trying to get him to, he can kind of do what you do with Mr. X, like do enough damage that he takes a knee. Right. So I was trying to do that, but I died. I fucked it up. That dude's going to be a real pesky motherfucker when that game comes out, but everything is looking pretty positive so far.
Cool.
Man, so I want to speak to you guys about that, actually, because I think our plan was to actually do a Let's Play series of Resident Evil 3, but fuck, man, all plans have gone out the window now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Could we do stuff remotely?
I guess we could do it remotely in some weird way. Yeah, I would have thought there'll be some way to do it for sure.
Yeah, I think Twitch you can have 3 different Twitch streams, and then you can have like a little overlay in. So if I was streaming, I could have an overlay of yours, Jonesy, and yours, Jamie, and then people could click over to it or something.
Right. Okay.
I'm not entirely sure how it works, but we could try and figure it out.
Yeah. The issue is always going to be delays. Like, people will notice listening or watching this that even just the setup we have now, there's enough of a delay that you're not always hearing stuff at the same time or reacting to stuff at the same time. I worry with gameplay thrown into the mix.
Also, the reason why I wanted to do the reason why I wanted to do a Let's Play on that rather than a stream is because I just wanted to be sat next to you guys and because you kind of work each other up, right?
Yeah,
sure.
Exactly.
Like, I remember playing some of the Resi 7 on the ATG days next to Jamie, and Jamie was getting me worked up. I wasn't scared of the game, but I was scared of how Jamie was going to react, because I was like, if I turn this corner, there's a fucking thing there. He's going to jump out of his skin, and then I'm going to pee a little.
Just a little.
You know
Just
what? That game was scary. I'm not going to make any excuses for myself because I don't need to. All right.
I really want to do that. So maybe we just got to keep it in our pocket for, when the real life apocalypse finishes, and then people are looking for entertainment.
We have to vlog ourselves battling the streets to get to each other to do a Resi 3 Let's Play, as the government forces are trying to keep us back in
instead
our
of
houses.
grenades. Instead of grenades, you just got toilet paper, and if people start crowding you, you just lob a toilet paper around, and then they all run towards that.
James is right, though. At this rate, it'll probably be illegal to be outside by next week, and we won't have any chance at all. It's going to be fucking crazy.
So I popped into on toilet roll. I popped into Costco earlier, and there was they just had a delivery of toilet roll, and there was a woman walking along with 2 giant bags of toilet roll. And my wife quickly was counting them up, and she was like, 80 toilet rolls. What does she need with 80 toilet rolls?
This is the thing. I've heard stories of people hoarding this kind of shit. I've seen pictures, I've seen videos. I've never seen anyone do it. How does someone like that walk through a supermarket with 80 toilet rolls and doesn't have at least one person go up to them and say, "You're a scumbag. You're an absolute piece of shit"?
In Costco, everything is in bulk anyway. So one pack is 40 toilet rolls. So she had 2 giant packs, and it's like,
so you probably see.
Tell us
why did you need 2?
It's probably you're only allowed to have a maximum order of 2. So it's 2, but it's
I would be in the running for the runniest bum in the UK. Do you know how many toilet rolls I've got left?
2.
1.
Oh, go buy some.
No, you're living on the edge there. No, dude, you're living on the edge there.
No, I bought some tissues the other day, Kleenex, because that was all they had. So
I'll tell you what the problem is.
Soft,
it's not necessarily that, the fact that other people are hoarding it means that you can't get it for just a normal kind of thing.
Yeah.
So in a way, it kind of means that you need to stockpile yourself. But it's kind of weird. I haven't stockpiled, but I think I've got enough for to cover us.
We bought some extra stuff, but we didn't stockpile anything. Do you know what I mean? Although I will say, so I was naughty in Sainsbury's because I bought but for altruistic reasons, I bought 4 bottles of baby formula, pre-mixed, and then put it in the food bank basket as you leave the shop to give to people.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Because
that's fair
they
enough.
keep saying that people are running out of it, and I was like, if somebody comes and just buys it all up because they're hoarding it, then and those people who really want it can't get any. I was like, do you know what? Let me do a little bit of sharing. So I thought I'll drop
You
some of
good
those.
Samaritan.
But they said you can only buy 3 of anything. But then I bought 4 and it was fine. So I don't really know.
Yeah, they don't give a shit, do they? Like,
No,
what are they
not
going to
really.
do?
Yeah.
I was thinking like it would be really cool to go to like a place like Costco or something, buy all of the toilet paper, have people fucking hate you. But what you do is you just stand outside of Costco and you'd be like, all right, mate, here's some free toilet paper.
Like
Go
break
on
it
your
into
way.
reasonable sized packs and give it
Yeah.
away. Yeah, that's probably not a bad thing to do.
You know, it's some people put on capes and fight crime. I would put on a cape and give away toilet paper. Yeah, a cape made of toilet paper.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But then, boys, there is something that we all played, which I mean, it's no surprise now. It's Call of Duty Warzone.
Yes, indeed.
So we managed to play, all of us, including some matches with good old Steph Murphy and Martin Ruffle of Just Interesting fame.
We did. I do have to share a picture.
Uh-oh, here we go.
Oh, here we go.
Because this was
it's going to be this. It's going to be this classic thing of showing a picture on a webcam in a
in a product that some people just listen to the audio of. And
Yeah,
now
you're
me
going
and
to
Chris
have
are
to
trying
describe
to.
this picture, Alex
Well, we're
Jones.
trying to fill the dead air while
describe the
Jonesy
picture.
takes half an hour to unlock his phone.
No, I've got it, but now, oh no, do you know what I've done? I've had a nightmare because I've looked in the wrong group.
What?
You
Come on,
you
Jonesy.
donkey.
People are waiting.
It is the picture of. Although now
Yes.
I can't find it.
This is not going to be
Of-
worth it, is it? I can already tell.
No, it's not.
It was the
Definitely not.
picture of Christoph wearing 2 sets of headphones, trying to play.
Oh, right.
How can you
Because
not find that picture?
I don't know how we did.
It was like 2 days ago.
Yeah, right, exactly, and it's just not there.
Yeah, it's on the ATG Forever group.
I'm in the group. It's not there.
Can we move on,
Weird.
please? Because this is
Let's move on.
This is not great podcast.
All right, so anyway,
Basically, Chris wasn't.
impre-
We let me just
Yeah.
explain because it was great. So we all downloaded Call of Duty Warzone. Chris has a PlayStation 4. Rather than join us on the PlayStation, he decided to download it on PC, which meant he then couldn't join the party chat, of which 5 of us were a part of because we had a few other people. We were going to do multiple games, round robin. So Chris had to put on one headphone from his PlayStation with the party group, and the other headphone was from his PC audio, so he could actually hear what was
and it
going
was
on.
terrible because these headphones,
course it was
I'll have
terrible.
you know, are like 7.1 surround sound, and I could hear bullets coming from everywhere. But then,
No, you couldn't. You could only hear them coming from one direction.
exactly, because you fuckers, it's like just get on Discord.
Hang on, because of us fuckers. If 5 of us are in one place and you're on your own in the other, you're the fucker.
Yeah, I don't know what that
this
decision
is-
was about.
This is true. I can't.
No,
the
I do.
decision is.
I know exactly the decision. The decision is I'm not going to get any shots if I'm on controller.
Yeah.
But
And,
with a
and,
mouse
you know,
and
and you know what
keyboard, yeah.
happened? I got mouse and keyboard, and I can actually I can keep up pace with Jeremy,
Playing very well, mate.
yeah,
which I
I've
could
yet to
never
see
do.
any
I could
evidence
never
of
do
that.
on a console.
Yet to see any evidence of that.
That's a lie, and you know it. In fact, the one match I had more kills than you. So
No, we had the same. We had 3 each.
one match I had I was 4 and you were 3.
I think the match that you and I played, Chris, you were 5, and I think you were 6, and I think I was 3, and then the other
Yeah,
dude we were
like,
playing was about 4. Yeah, not bad. Not
the,
bad.
the thing is, like, I will be the first to say that I am absolutely rubbish on a controller. But I would also say that, you know, I'm more than half decent on a mouse and keyboard. So,
I would quite like to try it on mouse and keyboard to see the difference, because I used to
well,
play.
this is what I don't understand about you guys, right? Like, so you could have it on your PCs. You both have bulky fucking power PCs. And you can no, hold on, and you can connect a controller. So
You can
if
choose your mouse and keyboard on your console.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
as well.
and I was getting the same treatment from Steph the other day. He was confused as to why I would get Doom Eternal on PS4 rather than PC. I don't know why it's so hard to understand. And one of the main reasons I love having a PC now is that I can still continue to choose my PS4 almost just to make a statement to all these PC Master Race guys and say, sometimes it's still preferable. Sometimes I just want to sit in front of my PS4.
I get it.
I'm
I
totally
do
with
get
you.
it.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
you know
there.
your console's connected to your TV. It's an easy on, and then you just fucking go.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Yeah, I still play some
I-
things on my PC, but it's just kind of like an as and when basis.
But let's talk about. Oh, sorry. Go
But
on.
hold on, because Warzone's free, so there's no reason for you guys not to try it on your PCs anyway.
Yeah,
Right?
but then I also feel like, Chris, with all due respect, you are very good at advocating for PC playing, but sometimes, how to say this, not the best at showing up for the sessions. Like, I downloaded Apex Legends on this machine on your advice, and I've never launched it.
No, we'll do that. We'll do that. And the reason is because
you won't now because
whereas like Steph or Martin message me like every day or two, like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like Warzone.
I get you, but look, Warzone's easy, right? Because it's crossplay, so that makes things so much easier. But
it does.
We'll get on the
easier.
Apex, and the reason we'll get on the Apex, Jamie, is actually because as much as I'm enjoying Warzone, and it's got some really good, fresh ideas, I think I still prefer Apex. You know.
Oh wow! Okay,
I'll
sold.
I'll be playing a lot more Warzone than Apex in the short term for sure, because it's the hot new baby, right? So you know.
Yeah.
I'm so. Can we talk about Warzone a little bit? Because I must say I am totally sold. Like I think we've talked about it a few times, but like the time to kill that you've got on people, the fact that you've got the gulag and you've got a chance to get rezzed, and then you can also be brought back into the matches, I think is wicked. The size of the match, the maps, I think is great, and you've got the 150 people, which is really cool.
Yeah.
You mean we've talked about it here? Like I can play a whole game of Apex and I can get like one kill or no kills and get into, still get quite far in the game, whatever. And it's a bit more of a dry experience. With Warzone, I genuinely feel like you're always engaging. You don't, if you see people in the distance, unlike Apex, where I sort of maybe we'd say, should we engage? Should we not? Should we think about this? You just go for it. Like it's so much more of a sort of a run and gun type of battle royale experience. And for me, that is I think it's the best one I've played, to be honest.
Look, as I said, I think they've got a lot of good ideas. Like you mentioned the gulag, I think that is a fantastic idea. And then the fact that you could still, after that fact, res a friend by paying for it, I think that's really cool. I'm a bit torn between the 150 people player count.
You think it's too many?
I wonder if it is, because it's almost like if you're not aiming for the top spot, right? Like if you're just there to have fun and get kills, I think it's perfect because there's a lot of opportunity for that. But as soon as you start to be like a lot more competitive with it, guess what? The mountain that you have to climb, it's not Kilimanjaro anymore. It's fucking Everest, right?
As in you've got to take out so many other people.
Got to take out so many more, and it's so many more opportunities to not get to the top.
But then there's so many more other people to kill other people.
Yeah. But it's like, I remember in PUBG, a lot of our strategy was kind of like, you almost alluded to it in Apex. Apex is maybe the middle ground, but with PUBG, it was like, let's wait and see what happens. Let's hide in the corners. Let's be stealthy. And then COD is like, let's fucking go balls to the wall. And then Apex may be somewhere in the middle. But what I'm really missing in Warzone is Apex's like mobility. I'm really missing the mobility. I agree with you. The time to kill is a lot better. It feels like proper spot on.
Yes.
I just wish it had if they had the fluidity of that. And I think also a weird way to say it, but like the accessibility of Apex in terms of the design of the characters, and what is what and what guns or what and what they do. Sometimes I'd be picking up a gun and I'm like, I don't know if I just picked up a fucking AR or was there like one LMG that looks kind of similar, and it's like, I don't know what I've picked up yet. And then it just, maybe some of that stuff they can work into it.
Yeah, sure. They could definitely massage some of those aspects.
Yeah, but it's cool. I like it. It's I see us having a lot of late night gaming sessions with it, so that's cool.
What do you think so far, Jamie?
No, I'm on the same page as you guys, and definitely I think the most positive sign so far is that I've played however many matches in a pretty short space of time, and I still want to play more. I guess I don't have the same issues with accessibility, maybe because I'm slightly more familiar with Modern Warfare over the last couple of months.
I can defer to that, yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of register what weapons are what weapons pretty early on as a result.
Or can I tell you something I don't like, actually? Is having to go to your loadout in order to get perks.
See,
you don't need to. You can buy perks from the shop.
No, those are kill streaks. You're buying.
Kill streaks. Sorry, yeah.
Perks
like actual perks only tied to loadouts.
Right.
On the one hand, I like that that's an extra layer there, but on the other hand, it does mean that loadout drops become very vital things, and now you get kind of this weird meta in the game that some people are using, which is actually where Apex and PUBG, there's always this feeling of the best way of getting loot, the guaranteed way of getting the best loot is by taking on other teams and killing them, because in theory, you've got the best of the loot that you've already got and the best of the loot that they've already got. And every time you take on another team, you're kind of doubling your chances of having the best loadout in the game. Now, the best loadout in the game comes from a loadout drop, and those can be bought, and you can get money from doing bounties that 2/3 of them don't require getting kills. So you can have a 0-kill game where you make it towards, let's say, the final final quarter of the match, and you have a loadout that you think is the best loadout in the entire game, because you can have the 2 guns you want, and you have a bunch of other perks that some people might not have any of. And some of them are extremely useful. Like, I've been using, like, Overkill's obviously good because you can get 2 weapons that you want at once. I've been using Tracker quite a lot, which shows you people's footprints. Cold-Blooded, which means you don't appear on heartbeat sensors or through thermal scopes. Ghosts, which means you don't appear on UAV. Like, there's a bunch of really useful perks that you can only get through loadout drops, and I don't know if they're going to adjust that over time, but it is what it is for now.
It's less of an issue with the weapons, I guess, because those weapons technically are available in the game to find.
But not with the...
It's all the attachments and things, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
It's what makes them so desirable.
But it's just like there is no other way to get perks. Maybe that's by design. I mean, it's obviously by design, but maybe they're going to want to keep it that way for whatever reason. But I think another way of getting perks in the game would probably be a benefit.
Yeah, maybe if you could buy them, that would be an idea. Like, you could make, but then does it get too? I suppose they want the buying process and not get too sort of bogged down in itself. If you've got to go in there and start picking things.
I guess the fact of the loadout drops are, hey, this is an area that you could fight over.
Right.
You know.
Plus, they already put I forget what they're called, but the things that you activate with the L1 and R1, they appear in the game naturally. And
like the heartbeat sensor, munitions box, things like
that. No,
that.
the heartbeat sensor's a tactical, so that's on L1. But you're right. The munitions box is one. You can get like higher power, stopping power rounds. You can get the trophy system, the drone.
The heartbeat sensor. The heartbeat sensor is amazing. Like, that is easily
so OP,
incredible. Like, every time you get
that, that got nerfed, maybe like limited use or smaller range or something. Because fucking hell, I feel naked without it now.
Although we were playing a game, was it yesterday? And I think I had the heartbeat sensor, and I turned it on, and it just told me there were people everywhere on top of me, and I just shit myself. I was like, I don't know where they are, and you guys were going, "What do you mean? There's 3 of them. They must be on top of you." I'm like, "They must be," and then suddenly they were just on me, and I was done.
Oh yeah, we had one match the other day that was a shit show at the very beginning because we were in the same building as like another team, and Jonesy kept saying they're above me, or something like that, but we were above Jonesy, and there was no one. It was very confusing because the heartbeat sensor tells you where people are and their horizontal distance, but it doesn't account for verticality at all. So they could be 100 feet above you, but you'd still see them.
Yeah, so I think they were actually underneath me at that time, which is why I was like, I think they must be above me. And you guys are like, no, we're above you. And I was like, well, there's 3 of them. What the fuck's going on?
Oh, Jamie, that wasn't the match where we were on the roof, right? We were just potting people as they were coming up the stairs.
I think it was that, yeah.
No. That was a later match where you and me were on our own, Chris. And that was also another heartbeat sensor showdown where someone was 5.5 meters away from me because the heartbeat tells you, sensor tells you how far away they are. And he wasn't moving. So we knew that he was at the bottom of the stairs and we were at the top looking down, and he just wasn't moving because I think he knew that we were there.
Did you start dropping grenades?
Like no, there was a claymore, but that was it.
Yeah, we killed a couple of them, but I think that particular one that Jamie was talking about, he wasn't moving. It was like, well, fuck, man, what are we gonna do? And we just bolted it in the end. We were like, no, it's not worth it.
Exactly.
You need like the thing from the Half-Life Alyx demo video where she just drops the grenade and it just blows the thing up at the bottom of the stairs. That's what you need.
Man, that's next week, guys. That's next
week.
Fucking Monday.
It should be, yeah. Should be.
It will be.
It will be, yeah. Because it doesn't need a physical release. It's a PC game.
That's very true.
Also, it's limited. It's a high entry barrier, right? So it's not going to be like, oh, here's the new COD that everyone's going to want to download because they're going to go to the store.
Yeah.
No. It's going to be like, well, if you have VR, you can get it.
The other thing for Valve, and this is true for a load of, like, I was thinking the other day how this would be the perfect time to be in like a Westworld Season 3 situation where you've got a TV show coming out and streaming, because Valve recorded Steam's highest like active simultaneous concurrent users ever this week at 20 million.
People need something to do,
People need something to do. So this is a good time to release a game that is largely being distributed digitally. Or only distributed digitally.
I think this is a good time for me to jump in with my PSA of this episode, guys. Is so Italy is in lockdown for the COVID-19.
Sure.
But so people are indoors. It's like, what you're gonna do? So Pornhub is giving away Pornhub Premium for free to all Italians.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I know this because a couple of my friends from South Africa on our little WhatsApp group said like, "Hey guys, it's for free. Somebody hop on a VPN and let's get this party started." So yeah, if you're interested in that, although very soon we're probably all going to be confined to our own fucking balconies and shit. So,
Yes, unfortunately so. Well, I'm still hoping to, as long as assuming it does come out all right, I'm still hoping to stream Half-Life Alyx when it drops. But I was hoping to do it on the Index, and that was 8 weeks away. Well, I suppose now, which would be 6 weeks away. There's no way I'm getting that in 6 weeks.
Dude,
that's going to be...
Yeah, but not only that, even if it was, you'd finish the game way before that thing showed up.
No,
well, actually,
yeah,
knowing you,
I'll be halfway through the game.
Halfway through the game before you abandon it.
Then I'll jump on the Index and I'll be like, I'm going to start this game again. This is incredible.
Okay, hold on. So, did we say which game you need to finish by the time?
Oh yeah, good point.
It's a Shadow of the Colossus. And BioShock are two which are eminently finishable.
All right, let's say either one of those. Yeah,
either one. Okay. So if I manage to do both, that'll be that'll be good.
All right, well, nice one, fellas. Let's talk about the gaming news, shall we? Because
let's do it.
There's been some. It's going to sound weird to say, but it's been not as busy a week, but there's been some really fucking major announcements.
Yeah.
It's been an interesting and exciting time. So obviously, the console war is what's heating up at the moment, and it's what's on everyone's mind, right? Xbox announced all of their specs for the Xbox Series X. Oh, went to
Xbox
Sean
Series
Connery
X
there.
is good.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, Sean Connery.
Sure,
Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
And
Much
then,
money.
as time of recording yesterday, we found out about the PS5 specs in what has got to go down as maybe one of the most boring but interesting webinars, I guess, because it was this weird fucking thing.
No,
right?
dude, he had. It was a live studio audience. What are you
It was
talking
a
about?
live studio audience of cardboard cutouts, like
Roll to the PS5,
Mystery Science
it's all the
Theatre
front of a live
3000. I
studio
gotcha.
audience.
Best point was when Jamie said, "Are they moving? I don't think they're real." It's like, no, they're moving.
It was like
they
Mystery
moved,
Science Theatre. It's just these weird
it was.
silhouettes of people moving their heads every now and then at the front.
Yeah, it was definitely meant to be for GDC. I mean, I know that rumor came out that this was the talk they were going to have for GDC.
Well,
but
I
it's
think
so
an
obvious.
official Sony PlayStation account tweeted it and then deleted the tweet that it was designed
right.
for GDC.
Ooh,
so.
talking about tweets that went out and then got deleted, shortly after PlayStation's announcement and their whole like hour-long kind of deep dive into the technical aspects of the PS5, Xbox announced that the Xbox Series X would be available during Thanksgiving.
Oh, what's that in November?
Yes.
Yeah, but they have since retracted that and retracted that statement and said that they are still committed to releasing it holiday 2020.
Probably a wise idea to delete the tweet because I don't think anybody should be saying they can release anything at a specific time at this time
guys,
of year.
They did
Yeah,
recommit
we
to
are
that
in such an
period.
unprecedented time in our lives. It's ridiculous. So yeah, no surprise there.
A lot of people have said it's basically you have to think of it almost like wartime. That's how it is,
Yeah.
right?
But I want to say they did recommit to holiday 2020. They just retracted
They did,
the
yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Well, holiday, I
specificity.
guess, gives them a couple of months, right? Whereas if you say I think that gives them a broader.
But they're not going to
frame.
release a console in January. Like if this thing's not out by
No.
December, then it's not coming out till the next year.
Yeah, and when Thanksgiving's in November, no? So
Yeah, so it's what mid-November. So even if they give themselves 6 weeks leeway, right, they're still doing themselves a favor if they're saying just before Christmas or something. It seems to make sense to me.
I thought it was quite a ballsy move. I thought it was a great move on Xbox's part, actually, to initially announce, oh yeah, fuck it, Thanksgiving, there you go, you chumps.
Yeah.
You know, when PlayStation is still very much being coy about a lot of their stuff. We don't even know what the fucking thing looks like yet.
I'm going to say at this point they're both getting delayed until next year.
I think
There's no
it's possible.
way. There is no way they're coming out this year. And I just can't see it happening.
I mean, here's the thing though, that the PlayStation 4s that were available at launch in 2013 were manufactured mostly in August and September, which is, from the point of the recording, 5 or 6 months away. I wouldn't be surprised if there were still people internally at Microsoft and Sony that were confident that they could manufacture and ship a number of consoles that met the minimum requirements for launch, which wouldn't be to say that everyone would get what they wanted in time for Christmas. A lot of people would have pretty miserable Christmases and very bare Christmas trees up and down the country and around the world.
But also, it seems that China is the country that is most kind of
somehow
turned around their infection, right?
Yes, although I must admit,
according to official sources.
They're, at the time of recording, they're worried they're about to have a second wave as people are starting to return to China.
So the problem you had, I think, with not just China, I think it was a few other Asian countries, was they said that China specifically had no new infections reported today, which is the first day. The issue is, as Jamie said, as they come out of those lockdowns and people start to be allowed like out and about again, what they're worried about is you've still got a whole load of people that have never had it, and they're just going to all reinfect each other, and then it's all going to happen again. And so you could end up with multiple waves of this hitting them, in which case it could put production down, to nothing getting made for a 6-12. Jesus, some people said it could be nothing until next year. Like,
it's possible, but then again, what China's human rights track record, I wouldn't be surprised if they said, all right, everybody who does have coronavirus, if you want the antidote, if you want the vaccine, you got to go work at Foxconn for a while, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. It's going to be a really strange time, and again, I think it's plausible that they get delayed, but at the moment, call it, blind optimism, but I'm going to remain confident that they will make it out in time. In quantities that are going to be sketchy, sure, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with you, but I think...
What would you estimate?
Not that I'm disagreeing, but I think anything is fucking possible in the time we're living in. So
you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
What would you say is the bare minimum for a launch? How many units should we be looking at?
I'm not good with those kind of numbers. I don't even know how many they'd like to sell, let alone how many they'd need to sell for it to launch that time. I just know that there'd be shortages. I know that it would be very hard to get one.
Because part of me does wonder if maybe they'll just do like a super small launch, just so on paper they can say it's come out, and then they can Then they don't need to worry about.
It's not impossible.
Yeah,
they're just gonna make one. They're gonna give it to Jacksepticeye. Oh, they're gonna make two. Jacksepticeye for the gamers and Mark Ass Brownlee for the tech dudes. It's like, come on, dudes. Like, let normal people get their hands on it. But anyway, some really cool kind of specs coming out here. So obviously, let's go Xbox first, because they announced all of their stuff first, right?
Yeah.
So I guess the big things that they had is they released some videos that showed improved loading times and also quick resume. So quick resume, I think on the demo they had, was it 5 or 7 games that they could that they were switching to on the fly?
Yeah, it looked like it was about 5, at least in the video they put out.
So basically, for those kind of confused as to quick resume, you'd be playing a game, you'd press pause, you'd go into the menu, you'd launch another game, and you'd pick up where you left that game off without, it looked like without loading times, other than to load from the menu into the game.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a 1 or 2 second buffer period as the game went, oh, yeah, we've got to switch back on, but it wasn't a loading screen.
Yeah, it's almost like if you have a Nintendo Switch, you press the power button and it just saves your state.
Yeah.
But for multiple games, and then the idea is that that's going to be persistent through even firmware updates, which is really impressive. And then they had an improved loading times, which that video was... It was kind of impressive, but it's also kind of shit at the same time, and I'll explain why. So they had State of Decay 2 loading up, and they're like, oh, look, it loads in like, I think it was 10 seconds to load up the game, or even less, on the Xbox Series X. And then once you're in, right? Like, the idea is you load the game, but then there won't be any loading screens in between sections, areas, whatever. But then they had the same one on, was it a Xbox One X, I think it was, or One S?
Probably a 1S if they wanted to get the best comparison possible.
Yeah. So, and that, honestly, it felt like it was taking the piss, and that took like fucking 2 minutes to load or some shit.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking to myself, the reason why this is shit is because, well, how fucking unoptimized is this game if it's taking that long to load up?
State of Decay 2 is a little bit rough around the edges. But then I feel like if they picked a game that loaded on an Xbox... Fucking hell.
There he is. There's the corona.
Oh, it's got me. Lads, I'm dying.
My corona.
That's the pneumonia sneaking in. I feel like if they picked a game that loaded very quickly on an Xbox One S and faster on an Xbox Series X, you'd have been like, okay, well, you're saving me 8 seconds because it's gone from 10 down to 2 or something.
It wouldn't have been enough, would it?
So they almost had to pick a very poorly optimized game for the old consoles to show just how fast it could be. But then again, semantics, I know.
Well, I love the idea as well of that that they're gonna, showing people loading screens and how long things take to load is the worst thing you could show people in the world.
Oh, is it, Jonesy? Because I could show you what Sony showed us and argue that.
Yeah,
was
exactly. Dude, give me Xbox's videos
Honestly,
any day.
People would love to see
Sony
how
did.
quickly games load on a PlayStation 5 in that format.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the other interesting thing about the Xbox Series X is it was confirmed to have like the 12 teraflops processing unit, which is all very fine and whatever. It's also got like a little dongle at the back with a proprietary connector for 1 terabyte kind of like NVMe drives.
Yes.
For storage expansion. And I thought that was pretty fucking cool.
And the SSD inside the hardware is 1 terabyte as well, so up to 2 terabytes of storage.
Yeah, to begin with.
Yeah.
But yeah, so on paper, it seems that purely spec wise, Xbox Series X is faster than the PlayStation 5 from what we have found out about all the comparable specs.
Yes.
But we were discussing this the other day, guys, or yesterday, in fact, and I said it seems that there's some positives on the Xbox side, there's some positives on the PlayStation side, because the PlayStation's SSD is about twice as fast.
Yes, it's
than the Xbox.
Stupid fast.
They're talking about an I/O throughput of 5.5 gigabytes a second, and the Xbox Series X is talking about 2.4 gigabytes a second. So
right, but then I believe that the bus sizes or some shit like that, it's different from the two, and then the Xbox has a better processor and a better graphics card.
Yes.
My point that I was saying is, it seems like the two consoles are going to get to the same place, but they're just going about it in different ways.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's a perfect analogy. Other analogies I've seen is that the Xbox Series X might be like a V8 engine, whereas the PlayStation 5 would be a turbocharged V6 or something like that. They're putting emphasis on different areas, but the results, I think where you'll really see results, weirdly enough, is where developers that only make games for one of the systems take advantage of the pros and cons in different ways. But I think cross-platform games are generally speaking going to make something that just makes the most of what they've got in common, as opposed to trying to optimize games for one platform over another. So, I think we'll see similar results.
Right.
It will just be like The Last of Us 3 will do something ridiculous that's, hits the SSD hard, whereas Halo 7 will do something that might hit the GPU and the CPU in a way that a PlayStation couldn't manage, but the Series X can.
But then you're never going to have a apples to apples comparison, because you're like you said, you're only going to ever see those differences on games which only come out on those systems. So it's going to be like,
but on paper, they are more different than the Xbox One and the PS4.
Yes,
which is what's
yeah.
interesting to me.
The big difference though is people have got their hands on the Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
We know what it looks like. We know what the internals look like. We know what that controller looks like with a revised D-pad, which I think looks pretty cool. Whereas the PlayStation, we have no fucking idea. It was literally fucking Sony on stage just with a whole bunch of like PowerPoint presentations. It was ridiculous.
That presentation was phenomenal.
I'm not even in 2 minds about that presentation. I'm in 3 minds about that presentation, which is. So I'll run through it quickly. My first thought is that they called it like the Road to PS5 presentation or whatever, and they said that it was Mark Cerny talking through the system architecture of the PlayStation 5, and also there were the rumors about the fact that it was a GDC talk that obviously didn't happen because GDC didn't happen. Anyone that looked at the tweet they put about it, the description of the YouTube video, and thought they were going to get anything in the way of the design of the console, the controller, games, or a launch lineup or price, anyone who thought they were going to get anything like that was wrong, and they hyped themselves up for it. They were wrong to. It is their fault, point blank. But
we knew it was the GDC chat before it came out, didn't we?
But the flip side of that argument is, did Sony need to release this video at all? Probably not. Like, make it available to the people who need it, but did they need to go public with it, given how many people are hungry for any scrap of information about the PS5? Probably not, because the reaction and a backlash like this was inevitable, and for them to not know that people would react this way, it makes them look kind of stupid, in my opinion.
I kind of disagree a little bit, right? Because leading up to the release of the PS5, they've got a roadmap not just for like what they want to achieve to get it out, but they've also got a roadmap with regard to the PR and how they're going to release the information about the system. And if GDC was an important aspect of that, then and they've already done the work, and they've already. I kind of get it, right?
Yeah, but
GDC
was an important part of that, but it wasn't an important part of the PR part of that. So to then turn it around and almost accidentally make it a part of the PR and then reveal to people, actually, it's not at all. It's almost like this weird bait and switch.
But I knew that they would have known that certain things would have been taken away from the GDC talk, and that people would have been talking PlayStation, and it would have been back in people's minds, for a week, 2 weeks, whatever. I get why they went ahead with it. I mean, it does seem a little odd, but I don't know. I see why they've done it. And like you said, anyone who thought they were going to get more than they were going to get in a technical conversation was wrong.
People who are on Twitter like calling out Sony for this are also wrong. I'm not saying I agree with them. Like, again, if you thought you were going to get more from this than you got, then it's your fault, not Sony's. But at the same time, I do feel like there might have been a better tactic in there around how they timed this and how they positioned this and who they made it
I just look
for.
at it as the amount of people that built it up to be what they were hoping it was going to be just shows me that there's no actual reason for Sony to hold back on their cards. They missed a perfect opportunity here, right?
Like if they'd have just added some information to the release and still done it, but just given people some of what they want as well.
Yeah, they could have had a bit of both,
Yeah, maybe.
There's no reason not to. Like, are you telling me that they haven't, at this day, they haven't finalized what the controller looks like? They haven't finalized what the console
design,
looks like?
they don't know. They're like,
it's like, why are you hiding it? Like, there's no point. Like, your main competitor has already shown all their cards,
unless it's so edgy,
except for the price.
Unless that is so edgy that they're really worried that people are going to hate it.
If it looks like that dev console, then if I have to get a PlayStation 5, I'm probably going to have to put it in a fucking box or something.
Do you mean like the U-shaped one? The horseshoe?
Yeah, like the V thing.
I liked that. I thought it was cool,
it's
man.
horrendous.
I'm
not surprised you liked it, because it looked like something out of a fucking Klingon ship. It's absolutely disgusting, and I'd have to... Even if I had to just keep it in the Amazon box that it came in, it would probably look better.
Jesus. Strong reactions.
Okay, but from what we've seen, what's been shown, I mean, I know it's a bit of a strange question because they've been shown in such vastly different ways, but actually, I'm not going to ask the question because you guys are going to say PlayStation 5. I was going to ask which way you're kind of leaning towards.
But Jamie's going to go both.
Yeah,
okay,
both.
I already know Jamie's going both.
Both, absolutely.
And I've always been PlayStation, so I'm not about to change my loyalty now. So
yeah, and I don't think they have shown anything significant enough that anyone should be changing their mind at this stage. Like, if you were committed to the PlayStation 5 and you saw something in that presentation that made you think otherwise, like, don't be silly. Like, this generation isn't going to be defined by teraflops in the same way the last generation wasn't defined by teraflops.
Chill.
Like, basically, chill.
All right, cool. Okay, moving on to the next little bit here is rumors about Silent Hill.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one, all right? Because there is both a reboot of Silent Hill and a Silent Hill revival, both kind of coming out at the same time. Whether in tandem or not, I'm not entirely sure. So the reboot apparently would be handled by Konami, with personnel from the original games returning, and that Sony is trying to fix whatever happened between Konami and Kojima, or there's a couple of rumors floating around. It's not that much info to go on, but it is an interesting look into what might be happening on Sony's side of the kind of console war.
So correct me all the places I'm wrong, because I'm going to be wrong a lot. So Kojima was going to make Silent Hills with Guillermo del Toro, and PT was a demo for what we thought Silent Hills was going to be. But this is a resurrection of the idea to make Silent Hills, bringing Kojima and Konami back together.
Yes, and at the same time, like almost redo the original Silent Hill, probably like how they redid like the original Resident Evil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of the strange part
Sounds
about
epic.
this rumor is that there's two kind of plausible sides to it, but it's hard to know how they kind of meld together. Like you can't can you have Konami's remake of Silent Hill or reboot of Silent Hill and Kojima's Silent Hills exist at the same time? Like
That's okay.
surely they do one or the other, right?
Nah, you can have both.
Yeah,
But
I
that would be
think
very confusing if Silent Hill and Silent Hills were both in development at the same time.
I'm with Chris though, because even if you look at like the remakes of games they're doing at the moment, then Silent Hill remake is going to be a very different game.
The
to
Silent Hill
Hills.
remake isn't a remake; it's a reboot. So the two games that
Oh,
would be in
sorry,
development
a
at the same
reboot.
time
Oh,
are
then I
Silent
agree
Hill,
with Jamie.
a reboot of
That's
Silent
how it
Hill,
works.
and Silent Hills, a reimagining of Silent Hill. It's
Oh,
bizarre.
then I'm with Jamie. I think that's weird.
I think what's going to happen is what Jonesy thought initially. Is I think they're going to reboot, remake Silent Hills 1 or 2. Or
Like
both
you
or
said,
whatever.
with like Resi 2 and Resi
exactly
Resi
like
3,
Resi, and then it would be like Resi had
or Final Fantasy 7, or that type of thing. Yeah, just take the old game, rework it, but not too different from what it used to be.
Maybe,
and then so that could be like a legacy title, and then they'd have a brand new story in the Silent Hills remake. But I think that the Silent Hills, the Kojima side of things, I think that sounds very unplausible to me.
If it turns out into effect, so you end up with a game like Resident Evil 2, the remake, and you end up with a game like Resident Evil 7, then I could see that happening, because I think those are two very different offerings. They're for different audiences. A lot of crossover, admittedly, but then I could see it working. If it's more what Jamie said, and it's like two new games, and they're both called Silent Hill, one with an S, one without, it's like...
Let's say, for the sake of argument, that there is a hint of truth to both sides of this rumor. I could see it being a scenario where internally Konami were trying to figure out what can we do with Silent Hill to make the most of the brand and the name recognition, while at the same time Sony approached them and said, hey, is there any room here? And which is why maybe there's an idea that both of these proposals exist at the same time, and maybe they don't go ahead with both of them, or maybe they do, and it's kind of like what you guys are suggesting.
Yeah.
But picking up what you were saying, Chris, with regards to the plausibility of this, I don't know why, but I could believe it's true that Sony made some kind of attempt to talk to Konami about whether or not this was possible.
Maybe, but I just don't think anything would ever come with it. The falling up between Konami and Kojima was so like fucking meteoric. That's scorched earth right there, buddy.
And it wasn't that long ago.
Nothing's gonna grow. Nothing's gonna grow out of that ground.
But Konami do like money. That's the only thing I will add. Also, and I can see why Sony would be interested in continuing a working relationship with Kojima, but are far more interested than they were in terms of what happened with Death Stranding at making a more commercially viable product with him.
Yeah, sure.
The only thing I find difficult about that is, would Kojima now go back and make something with Konami, given that, would that not look bad for Kojima Productions?
It depends if he's making it with Konami, or if Sony are negotiating on behalf of Kojima Productions for the rights to make something using the Silent
I think
Hills
that's more
brand.
likely.
Right,
They would buy out the title.
Yeah, and Sony the middleman, and saying, look, just full transparency, when we buy this, Kojima Productions will make it, but you're working with us right now.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense to me, yeah, for sure.
I don't know.
There is some more juice to these kind of rumors. Okay, it kind of broadens out a bit in the Konami library, shall we say? Because Sony is also rumored to be interested in obtaining the rights to Castlevania and Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, a pinch of salt is needed with this. From what I could see, this particular rumor was coming from one source only, and was not corroborated by anyone else. So
yeah, and that's where this whole thing kind of starts to evaporate before our very eyes.
Yeah,
it's like, as soon as something becomes too good to be true in the realm of video game rumors, it usually is, and that's where I start to lose hope for what this is. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. A new Castlevania game, that would be cool.
Yeah,
I think loads of people would like not even necessarily a continuation, but just a closure of the whole Metal Gear Solid kind of story and everything that's kind of built up from it, especially with the rumors going around that Metal Gear Solid 5 was not actually a finished product.
Yeah.
I mean, Jamie, this is more your kind of like realm.
No, yeah, like there were obviously the fracturing in the relationship between Kojima and Konami had a negative impact on Metal Gear Solid 5. That much we know. Obviously, it's a little bit dicey when you're trying to look into what exactly happened, whether it was cut short, whether the money was cut short, or whether, because there are some arguments you could make for the Konami side of things about how long Kojima and his team were taking and how much money it was costing Konami at a time where they weren't really fully invested in video games, because by the time Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, it was basically Metal Gear and Pro Evo.
And Pachinko.
And Pachinko,
Pachinko in a big way, yeah.
That's the weird thing for Konami, because in Japan, they're massive for casinos and hotels and shit like that, and not fucking video games anymore. But obviously, it would be very interesting to see what would happen if Konami was able to return to the franchise, if he was able to get some more closure out of the stuff we didn't see in Metal Gear Solid 5, and if he had for any ideas and views in terms of what stories are left to be told in the Metal Gear universe, which obviously there'll be plenty, but are there any we still need to hear is what I wonder. I don't know. We'll find out.
It starts to get very long in the tooth, I think. I think if they drag it out anymore and revisit it and go back, I don't think maybe it's not the best time again. But then you know what? I've never been like that into Metal Gear, so it wouldn't really bother me if they didn't revisit it.
Yeah, we'll see. I think that the Metal Gear and Castlevania part of all of this is probably bullshit. I think what happened is that Kojima finished making Death Stranding, immediately started looking towards his next project. We know that he wants to make a horror game. He's given us lots of hints that he is currently making a horror game or prepping to make a horror game of some kind. I believe it's somewhat out there that he's continuing to work with or wants to work with Norman Reedus, if no one else, on whatever's next. Norman Reedus was in a series of videos in the last week. He did a Wired autocomplete interview where he actually referenced the fact that he had a meeting planned with Kojima coming up soon to discuss, what they're going to be doing. I wouldn't be surprised if Sony heard all of this and were like, let's at least shoot for the Silent Hills thing, because PT is the biggest and best piece of marketing ever for a game that didn't come out, in my opinion. And why would you not at least try and resurrect that if you could? We'll see.
I just don't think anything will come of it. And I think I think the Silent Hills thing, at least purely from a remake standpoint, is a no-brainer. Everything else I'm kind of dubious about.
Yeah. Do you know what would suck is that if they remade Silent Hill, they'd be remaking the wrong Silent Hill. Remake Silent Hill 2, fuck the first one, you cowards.
Yeah, but that's kind of when they get into an awkward position, right? Because what do? Do they just forget about the first Silent Hill?
No, Silent Hill Trilogy, the remake.
Right. Yeah.
Or even fuck Silent Hill 3. They should be like Silent Hill, the duet 1 and 2.
Yeah. What was Silent Hill 4 like? The hole or it was like the guy crawls through a hole in the wall and ends up in a different. I've got to look it up now. It's literally like I want to say the premise is about a hole in the wall, not the TV show.
Wow. Okay. A glory hole.
Big time.
Wow.
Some might
Different
say.
angle.
Yeah, Silent Hill 4, The Room. I swear the guy crawls
hi,
through
Mark.
a hole in the wall.
Oh, you're my favorite customer. Hey, doggy.
Good doggy.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd actually play that game. I'd play a Silent Hill meets The Room.
There was
if they could get Tommy Wiseau to play the main character in Silent Hills, that'd be great.
Tommy Wiseau and Norman Reedus.
Oh, Jesus.
The best
dream
on-screen
team.
pairing, yeah.
So charismatic.
All right, guys. Well, just kind of wrapping it up a little bit. We're gonna, a whole bunch of other stuff is being affected by the whole coronavirus thing. So Football Manager 2020 and Assassin's Creed Odyssey have been made they've been released for free at the time being, and who knows how long that's going to last for. But I guess they're thinking people are indoors a lot. They're going to want to play a game. Take our game for free.
I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because I've seen the Football Manager already reported that within 24 hours of making it free, they hit 100,000 concurrents on Steam, which is a very high number for them.
Wow.
And I think more and more people are going to say, hey, shit, a free week or a free weekend at this time not only looks like a goodwill kind of very outwardly friendly move, but also probably helps us out a lot in the long run.
Yeah, for
but
sure,
I
absolutely.
I wonder how long it is until EA kind of egg onto this, give away their games for free, but like just do something really dodgy where it's like, oh, you can play this for free, but you have to put in your credit card information, and then
And
like,
you sign up, and then if you don't
Yeah.
cancel your subscription, but the only way to cancel is to go in person to EA's office and tell them that you don't want to carry it on.
in China
Yeah.
or no, in Italy, and then
In
you have
the
to go to the
middle of, the
Italian,
northern-
Italian
northern
head
Italy.
office.
And you have
Italy.
to confirm your decision with a handshake, a firm handshake.
Yeah.
No, you got to lick the fucking scrot of Andrew Wilson.
Oh God, probably smells nice.
Probably does. Let's see what else. Square Enix have committed to Final Fantasy VII's release date on April 10th, but they have stated that it is unlikely if you've ordered a physical copy of the game that you would get it on release day.
Yeah.
This
Which,
is going to
you
be
know,
the big
that's-
thing, man. Digital copies. Disc boys like me are dead because we're just going to.
Disc boy.
The next few games that come out, you're just going to go digital
then,
because you know you
Jonesy,
won't get a physical copy.
Your
so.
internet's faster than mine. I don't understand why you just haven't gone digital yet.
So the only reason I usually go physical is for the simple thing of I have a disc that I can put in the machine and I can reinstall the game. And it means that if I delete it from my hard drive because it doesn't have capacity, it's a pain in the ass to re-download the whole game again.
I think it's a pain in the ass getting up and putting a disc in. Can I tell you something? I deleted Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which I had physically because I got it for Christmas. Deleted it from the system, but I left the disc in the machine. And now every time I boot up my PlayStation, it tries to start reinstalling Ghost Recon Breakpoint, and I have to hit options and delete. And I have deleted.
Just take it out.
Yeah, just take the disc out, you idiot.
I can't be bothered. I can't be bothered.
I will say there's no way with what do you call it, like the quick load up on the PlayStation 5. There's no way that I'm getting discs for that because you have to literally put the disc in and then I'm not doing that.
God, that's so inconvenient.
Yeah, can't bother with that.
All right. The other thing that it hasn't really been reported, but I think it's an inevitability, guys, is we need to talk about the coronavirus and its relationship to The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
Right.
Because the game hasn't gone gold yet, has it?
I don't believe so. No, I mean, there's reporting this week that suggests entirely the opposite.
Yes, that they are in a very hard bit of crunch. But if pretty much every government is saying, "Hey, go home, don't go into the office," how many of these people would be able to work from home? How secure would it be? Does this mean that we may be looking at a bit of a delay?
We'll see.
Again for The Last of Us Part 2.
This actually came up on our Discord server the other day, and I was chatting to some of the boys on there about all this, because some people were quite firmly in the camp that...
Hold on a second. Discord server that you can access via our Patreon for $2.
The very
at
same.
SuperShow at patreon.com/SuperShow.
Yeah, we were having one of our many riveting, engaging discussions on there in the game discussions section of the Discord server. But some of the boys on there were quite certain, at least at the time, obviously this situation is changing every day, so fair enough, that no games would be delayed. But we were discussing what happens when people have to start working remotely. I mentioned our experience in post-production and how if you sent 15 editors home, how many of them could actually work from home with the same efficiency and at the same capacity that they did in the office. In our experience, it wasn't always very many. Even when you try to look into sort of like virtual desktops and streaming, kind of swapping that situation out. And so it is a weird bridge to cross. I will say, I didn't note it on the document, but CD Projekt Red have confirmed that they are now working remotely and are confident in their setup and that they can still deliver a game in September. And Rockstar, although they have not announced again whatever's next, they have confirmed that they are now also all working remotely and that their live services for GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 will not be affected.
Okay,
so companies are adapting.
It would be the worst time for their live stuff to go down because everyone's home playing games.
But it's also a terrible time to be in crunch because crunch is crunch.
Yeah, the crunch thing to me seems different, right? Because I mean, Rockstar saying that they're not going to have a problem making content for online stuff is different. But if you're in crunch, I can't believe that given the fact they have to liaise with other departments, the fact that they're also trying to be secretive, the fact they're trying to stop leaks, etc., 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 I can't see how that they're not affected massively by this.
Right.
It does seem very different to have a game in the state that Last of Us Part 2 is in than to have like other games like Grand Theft Auto 5 stuff coming out, and because you just think that they would be able to deal with things more easily, right?
Yeah. That's where I almost feel like, sorry to interrupt, Chris, that games in the kind of games that are slated to come out around May, June, July, August, September are almost in the most trouble because they haven't gone gold yet, and they're at the key point in their development where they're fixing bugs and they're optimizing the game and they're getting it ready to come out. But there are loads of games that we speculate would come out around Christmas time for the new consoles that haven't given release dates yet and almost are in trouble because you can't delay a game that doesn't have a release date.
Ooh,
so now's
actually,
the time.
You touch on a very interesting point here, Jamie.
Yeah.
Because we said that we don't necessarily think that consoles would be delayed. But what if no launch title is ready?
That's a fucking great point.
Both consoles get released, but no games come out to play on them.
I mean,
wicked.
You're not wrong. Like if Sony or Microsoft started getting messaging being like, "Hey, you know that game we told you we'd put on your platform in November? We're not going to put it on your platform in November." Then maybe maybe it is part of the rethinking process. I don't know.
Corey Barlog is there to Sony saying, "Yeah, you know that God of War sequel? Yeah, it's not going to happen until 2021."
Yeah, jeez, it's possible.
You know,
but again, that's one of those ones where they get away with it because it would be a delay that we didn't know about.
Yeah, fair. But man,
whereas like Last of Us 2, Cyberpunk, games like that would be a disaster for them in many ways.
Mark my words now, I reckon Last of Us 2 is not going to come out when they said it's going to come out.
I don't know, dude.
I just don't see how. I don't see how. Like, okay, some more info coming from the really hard crunch that is going on. So this is a report coming from Jason Schreier, right, saying that the animation department in particular is taking a lot of strain and are in like a really hard crunch at the moment, okay? But also that talented individuals have been pushed out of the company, making it extremely difficult to hire contractors due to their reputation. Add, I guess, to the fact that maybe people don't want to leave their house,
right?
You know, puts more pressure on it.
Yeah.
But then there's also an interesting quote from Jonathan Cooper, who was a former Naughty Dog animator. And his quote goes as follows: "Ultimately, Naughty Dog's linear games have a formula, and they focus test the shit out of them. So while talented, their success is due in large part to Sony's deep pockets funding delays rather than actual skill alone. A more senior team would have shipped The Last of Us 2 a year ago."
Okay, wow. So, all right, that's
so. In other words,
that's pretty damning.
Absolutely.
Their senior roles are kind of dissipating. So maybe it's mid-tier and junior tier that's kind of moving up to fill in the gap.
I should have put the statistic, but Jason Schreier reported that if you look at I think it was the animation department, that something like 60% or 70% of the people who worked on Uncharted 4 have left the company since then.
Wow,
man,
it's crazy, the turnover. And to pick up on the point about contractors, they're going to people, the most talented people available in the area, and they're saying, "We don't fucking want to work for Naughty Dog because we're not going to come and crunch with you guys." And so now they're going to apparently film animators and people with Hollywood backgrounds and approaching them, and they're very talented, but they're not as good technically because they're not as familiar with the software and sort of the ropes of developing video games, which is apparently why this issue is happening. You get a lot of talented junior people who just aren't as familiar or as prepared for that environment, and it's creating problems and friction.
So then you rely on playtesting and then tweaking and then fixing and playtesting and tweaking and right. See, okay, that is shocking. Really.
Thank goodness Half-Life Alyx went gold. Thank goodness Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing. I mean, those are out. Like by the time you listen to this podcast, you'll be playing those games.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
I guess another game that's going to come out, which will it come out when they said it comes out? I don't know. Which is the Control DLC, which was the Foundation, which was launched with an excellent trailer, really kind of moody and atmospheric.
Very good trailer.
With a fucking killer soundtrack to it. Man, that you know the track I'm talking about?
I'd have to listen to it again, but
kind of like a sketchy kind of like, I don't even fucking know. Just go watch the trailer. It's great.
Ready for a bit more Control?
I think I am actually. Yeah, it's still loaded on my PC. Have not gotten rid of it because I'm waiting for it. But that is meant to be out on March 26th on PC and PS4 and June 25th on Xbox One. But
Yeah.
now, will that happen? I mean, March 26th, just around the corner. So I'd
Yeah,
imagine
that's a
it's
week away. And
Yeah,
it's
I'd
digital
imagine
only,
it's gonna
right?
be.
So they don't have any kind of like manufacturing or shipping issues to worry
Yeah,
about.
yeah. So technically, I guess, and as a DLC, I don't necessarily think DLCs go gold. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, it's theoretically possible that maybe like the second piece of DLC, for example, is going to be out a little bit later than it could have been if they're presumably working remotely and again had a lower kind of efficiency. But
yeah,
again, until we know about release dates, there's nothing to be delayed. So it's a tricky one.
Yeah,
yeah. It is kinda
absolutely.
tricky.
Well, I can say that none of us predicted this at the beginning of the year, did we? That
No.
everything would be
Dude,
getting delayed, and we
could
about
have
stuff
sat
not coming
down
out.
and tried to talk about this 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I wouldn't have predicted any of this.
Fair
It's
enough,
just
yeah,
been
yeah.
fucking
Utter
been
madness.
blindsided by it.
Yeah, it is kind of mad. Well, hey, I look forward to us meeting up next week and still being corona free. So, you know,
Yeah, keep
Uh,
washing your hands, so that goes to you two and everyone listening at home.
yeah, wash your dicks as well, please, because
No one needs a
I don't
cheesy
even
knob
need to say.
at this time.
It's
of
a
year.
great piece of advice.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, wash your hands, wash your dick, and stay corona free.
I would actually say that piece of advice that Chris just gave stays relevant beyond the coronavirus issue. So if we do,
Oh,
wrap
hold on!
this all
Don't
up,
be too hasty.
In
Well,
fact, can I say, if you've gotten to this point in the podcast, in the video on YouTube, go down below into the comments section and say wash your dicks so that everyone else who hasn't got to this point knows to as well.
That is your secret code word for this week's podcast is wash your
It
dicks.
is indeed. And I think people should tell us as well what they're planning to play during their quarantine time. I'd like to know. So yeah, in the comments, say wash your dicks and let us know what you're going to be playing for the foreseeable quarantine future.
Yeah, right. Well, unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I think that's where we kind of end it. Yeah?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thank you,
All right.
guys.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. If you're listening on your podcast platform of choice, or if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Don't forget to check out our social media, which is Twitter and Instagram at SuperShow Pod. And hey, if you'd like to help support this podcast and some other pieces of content that we are hoping to work on, then maybe throw us some patronage. Throw your witches a coin over at patreon.com/SuperShow. Anything is excessively helpful to us. And for as little as $2, you can join the Discord and talk to us about how you do or don't wash your dick. So,
But sorry, Chris, I know you've just done a lovely outro, but can I throw one more thing out there?
Please do, buddy.
It's kind of like a PSA, kind of like I want to apologize if at any point I looked distracted or was looking at my phone or like Googling stuff. But in the middle of that podcast, Steph sent a message to our WhatsApp group to a link to a YouTube video that just says Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. So I had a heart attack in the middle of that podcast thinking that GTA 6 had been fucking announced while we were recording. And of course, it's complete bullshit. So I don't know what this video is going to be. Yeah, I mean, of course. But when you get that message, you're like, what is going on? So I was like doing Twitter. I was going to rockstargames.com and I was like, what the hell is going on out there? Is anything actually happening? Of course, nothing's fucking happening. So I just want to throw a quick message out there. Fuck Steph. You really ruined my flow and my vibe. I've been on fucking... I've had jitters running through my body ever since then.
You better believe that if it did happen, if there was a trailer for GTA 6, Jamie literally would have clicked off of this stream. He would have been left the podcast.
Lads, I need to go.
To watch.
Oh man, yeah, it's like the times when we used to stream and he had to go for take a dump and he'd be like, "Sorry guys, I need 10 minutes. Goodbye."
I did that once. Oh, you talking about Steph or me?
Both of you.
I think I did that once, maybe twice. Only once was memorable because I referred to the fact that that's what I was doing. Well, yeah,
it was a memorable.
We were playing
dump.
Bloodstained, and we just found like a rusty ring or something like that, and I made a joke that I shouldn't have made.
Oh, there you go.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway, that was
Alright.
my little thing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good to know. Thank you. I mean, it's not like it's different from any other time we've recorded a podcast where you're yawning and you're resting your head and scratching your anus, and I mean,
Look, I like to relax. What can I say?
It's a relaxing podcast. Not only is it a relaxing podcast, it's a 5-star podcast. So if you're listening to us on iTunes, give us 5 stars. And with that, everybody, thank you so much for watching and listening, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
See ya.
See ya. Go wash your dicks. Bye.